Good morning, dear friends, fellow learners, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone to our AABN 60th webinar series. We are already on the threshold of the second month of New Year, which we all sincerely hope will bring us good tidings. Despite 2021 being an unprecedented period in recent times, we managed to stay in touch with each other and create positive pathways for all in this group. For that, a big thanks for your faith and support. As we try hard to put behind us the memories of COVID-19, it is time for renewal and regeneration. Let me run you quickly through the ideas on which AABN was built before spelling out a future course and moving on to welcome one and all and introduce you to our distinguished speaker for the day. AABN began as a fledgling outfit last year to connect professionals on a proactive platform to exchange useful information and contacts. Also became an informal avenue to meet and listen to game changers in the fields of engineering, agriculture, marketing, entrepreneurship, business management, etc. through interactive sessions. Thanks to the strong work fundamentals, clear goals, and wonderful community on which this network was built, we grew in leaps and bounds. A new year called for a fresh look at things. So as a run-up to 2022, the office bearers of AABN unanimously felt that the time had come to go beyond webinar and expand AABN's vision to cover a larger group drawn from multidisciplines and create visibility for our entrepreneurs. Our immediate priority is for the disparate group of people to work in sync to overcome challenges and draw new pathways for the future of this wonderful business community. It's critical that the work we do, besides benefiting this group, also find resonance in the larger business community outside. We hope to see the participation of many more entrepreneurs across engineering, agriculture, management, pharma, marine, etc., particularly more youngsters from beyond 2K who might be able to add a fresh dimension to our goals. I wish to point out that all alumni meetings are not just about hitting the refresh buttons on old acquaintances. They are also a forum wherein fresh interfaces lead to new hopes for the future. That brings me to today's buzzword, fresh. It's been a recurring word in my introduction. It's a fresh year, fresh faces, a freshly expanded group of professionals, and fresh goals. No wonder we also got an awesome speaker with fresh perspective to address us today. It came as no surprise when I chanced upon Nandita Pandey, and I've been able to follow her stupendous success. Whether it was her work as a corporate trainer or pushing her ideas in the organizational development, she has left her indelible imprint in all that she undertook. Looking out at the world today, it's easy to see why brands are more important now than at any point in the past. Brands are psychology and science brought together. Brands outlive products. Brands convey a uniform quality, credibility, and experience. Brands are valuable. Many companies put the value of the brand on the balance sheet. Today, Nandita has emerged as one of the most sought-after voices when it comes to personal branding. Today's session, Trademark Me, the art and science of personal branding, will not only showcase her expertise in the field, but also look at ways to improve businesses by focusing on personal branding, which according to me is a factor that most companies tend to downplay. She believes a strong personal brand will impact your ability to meet the right people. Before I hand over the floor to Nandita, let me quickly run you through her achievements, a long list that has been cut short rather reluctantly by me to save time. Nandita Pandey is leading personal branding coach, a professional speaker, and an author. She is the co-founder and chief branding strategist of Prismatic Consulting. She is chief strategy officer, Confederation of Indian Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises. She is the first image consultant in Tamil Nadu. She is the first Indian to author a book on power dressing, dressology, the science of power dressing, and also co-author Shifting Gears, a winner playbook, Pivot to Crisis. Nandita is the host for India's Hindi podcast on personal branding, Brandify. She has been featured about in various magazines, newspapers, and TV channels. She has trained 9,500 plus people and coached more than 73 CXO on entrepreneurs. She has been awarded with the Superwoman Achiever Award and the Pride of Tamil Nadu Award by World HRD Congress. She did a post-graduation in psychology from Delhi University and an MBA. Nandita is an internationally certified NLP practitioner, performance coach, image consultant, mindset trainer. She has worked in NIT Limited, GE Capital, R.R. Donnelly, and Daimler India, a commercial vehicle, before starting out as an entrepreneur nine years back. In a span of 9 years, she has been responsible for the outstanding success of some of India's most efficient entrepreneurs, CEOs, CXOs, and celebrities. She consults for Fortune 500 companies and startups with the same passion and knowledge. Her strength is in providing customized solutions to realize one's potential and become a professional personal brand. Nandita has recently given keynote address on personal branding and women empowerment at McKinsey, HSBC, KPMG, Cognizant, Rotary Clubs, IOC, etc. She is an active member of many business and HR forums in South India and a passionate Rotarian. Nandita's style, her knowledge of the topic, and her ability to engage the audience will ensure that attendees today walk away with several key takeaways that they could employ to better brand themselves. It will ensure that your attendance of the webinar today was more than worthwhile. I'm not going to make you wait longer. We'll let Nandita take over and regale you with her astute experiences and fresh ideas. Before I conclude, I would like to welcome and thank Rotarian Sunil Budiraja, Rotary Club of Ludhiana, Middletown, for graciously accepting our invitation to be a part of this group today. Thank you, and over to Nandita.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gopi, for that long, wonderful introduction. I think there's nothing left for me to say because I was planning to put it as a part of my story. I do see a lot of familiar faces and people in the audience, participants, and that makes me a little jittery because some of them have heard my story. I have had the pleasure of working with some of the names that are here. So it's indeed a pleasure to be a part of this alumni group and share my knowledge. My only request is some things that I'm going to share with you. You will feel that you've heard it before, you know it before. If you like what I say, practice and apply. If you don't, just listen to me and just chuck it out of the window, because what has worked for me and for a lot of other people that I consult may actually not work for you. So choose wisely, but my only request is, like children, when we are kids, we learn the maximum because we keep our biases aside. When I say biases, we don't judge people based on their ethnicity, education background. We learn what they say, we apply it, and if it doesn't apply with us, we throw it out. But as adults, we do just the opposite. We look at a person, look at what is the education qualification, where are they coming from, and then say, okay, is it worth listening to the person? So my request is be childlike during this next 90 minutes. Ask as many questions as you can in the chat box, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. And let me start with a disclaimer. I am not an engineer. Though I come from an engineering background in terms of an engineering family, and that's a part of my story. So if you want to log off just because I'm not an engineer, you're free to do it right now, because I'll feel very bad when people log off a little later. So I will start right away on the topic. Trademark me is what we're talking about. Why is there a need to trademark yourself? Because at the end of the day, we are not products. We are people, we are human beings. So I'm going to talk about what, why. And since I'm talking to a bunch of engineers and technical people, I'll make it very science oriented. I'll give a lot of logic to whatever it is. But at the end of the day, the way you trademark yourself includes a lot of art. That is why the whole concept is a mix of science and art. Is that the way I'm going to present it to you? So let me start with a question. Most of you or all of you are entrepreneurs here or business people. What, according to you, if I ask you to give me names of brands which are extremely popular, which names come to your mind? Just shout out the names by unmuting yourself or put it in the chat box. I'll follow you in the chat. So what are some of the most popular brands or that you have ever worked with or used?
Mercedes Benz.
Benz is Benz. Okay, that I like that. Shanmugha sir is smiling there because we come from the legacy there.
I understand.
Yeah, so the legacy is always there for Benz. Yes, Boost, Unilever, Bata, Britannia.
I work with Bayer. That was a great brand.
Okay.
So as a fresher, that opened gates for me like anything.
Merck, Viva, Nokia. Okay. Interesting. Now, there was a survey done in the year 2019, and that talked about why some of the reasons why these brands are successful. And some of the names that you've given are successful or popular brands. But before I go there, I'm going to ask you another question, because I'm going to try to make it as interactive as possible. I don't like talking to the camera or laptop most often. So we use the word success, and a lot of us want to be successful here. My question is, can anybody define success? What is success and how do you get success? It's a very relative term. Everybody has their own definition. And how would any of you would like to actually define success? I've got the chat box on, but it's better if you could just.
Success is when you are happy doing what you can do on a daily basis. If you're able to do what you want to do, that is success.
Okay, happy doing what you're doing on a daily basis, success. Beautiful. What else? And we're talking
Achieve the
business
goal.
owners. Let's talk.
Okay, achieve the goal, Nandita. When they achieve the
Achieving your
goal on
goals is
time.
success. Okay. Anybody else would like to give me another answer?
Job satisfaction is a clear-cut happiness for the growth and this one. Job satisfaction.
Okay, okay, that's
That is
interesting.
more important.
Okay, job satisfaction.
According to the ability to surpass the
Goal
failure.
achievement.
Ability to surpass failure. That was a heavy one. Yes, true. Okay.
For me, success would be a measure of how many people's lives I'm able to touch with whatever I'm doing.
Okay. How many lives you're able to touch by what you're doing? Awesome. Any other responses before I proceed? Okay.
Goal achievement.
Goal achievement. Okay. So since I'm talking to a bunch of intelligent entrepreneurs who also have a technical, very scientific and a logical brain, I'm going to give you a simple formula for success. How does that sound to you? Because we all love formulas in maths or anything. It is just easy to score if we have a formula in place. Okay. So the formula for success is very simple. There are two ingredients for success. And those two ingredients are that you need to have an opportunity to perform, and you need to perform when you get that opportunity. So when opportunity and performance meet together, that is when success happens. Let me give an example to you. I think most of you, I do see a lot of youngsters here, but a lot of people would have heard a person by the name of Vinod Kamli. And there's another person who's known as demigod of cricket by the name of Sachin Tendulkar. Both of them were players par excellence, and both of them were excellent performers, if you ask me. Both of them got enough opportunities. But who do you think is a success story? If I ask you to give me a success story, whose name
Sachin.
Shouts out in your head?
Sachin.
Sachin. Okay. Now, is there only one Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Dhoni? Now, the new one that is there only one or one PT Usha in this country, or there are many like them who have the same competence, who have the same skills? Many?
Yes, there are many,
Many,
but Sachin
right?
got the chance.
Sachin got a chance, exactly. So for you
Kamli
to
also got a chance.
Kamli also got a chance, and I'm going to discuss Sachin and Kamli a little later, but I wanted to introduce these two names because
Can I make a guess for what is success? Getting an opportunity and performing to one's full potential.
when you get that opportunity. So if I am given a chance to showcase my product or services to a client, it's very difficult to get good orders, meeting with clients, and you've done something right to get an opportunity. That's your first impression. That's your brand value that I call. If you have a good brand value, or organizations want to work with you, clients want to work with you, get that opportunity. But you fail to deliver your product or the promise that you're making to the customer, you would never be a successful brand. So where I'm coming from is your brand value will help you get an opportunity, but your ability to deliver consistently with the brand promise that you've given will ensure a good performance, and that will lead to success. So it's a very simple formula, two things. Now, a lot of things. Can I ask everybody to please mute themselves? So if both of them happen together, that's when success happens. Now, a lot of things go into this, and that is what I'm going to be talking about in the remaining session. So coming back to the question that I was asking, these were some of the brands that were the most admired brands in 2019 when the survey was done. The result of 2020 is still awaited. And the reason why these brands were successful or most admired were because they delivered on their promise, they were consistent, they were top of the head recall, they delivered quality, they stood for innovation. So they delivered what they promised. The turnaround time was less. They had a emotional connect with the customer. These were the reasons why these brands stood out in the year 2019. Now, if I ask you to extrapolate this and ask you another question, can you shout out names of people, the one person who you think is the most admired brand according to you? Person, human beings. You can type
Mahindra.
Mahindra, okay, my favorite, Mr. Anand Mahindra. Mahatma Gandhi, Ratan Tata or JRD, either of the two. I admire both. Any other names? Elon Musk, of course, he has to come in.
Modi.
Yeah, okay. I have a slight disconnect here. We normally start with Mr. Rajnikant in the land of the Laiva, but I think a lot of you have started with other names. I'm very happy. So, okay. Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, Puchi Satya. Any other names?
Mother Teresa.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Mother Teresa, of course, very, very, very admired brand. Who else?
Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni, yes, the guy who
because
got the
he was the
World Cup
brand.
back
He was the brand for the India Cements and for Ashok Leyland and everything.
Who else? Anybody else?
Amitabh Bachchan.
Okay, the people who know the answer are not supposed to answer. I see some of you answering, and I know who those people are, so just refrain from that. Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. Now, when I have done this activity across the last 7 years and asked people who are the most admired brands, I've got names right from Elon Musk to Mr. Ratan Tata, to a Dhoni, to Sania Mirza, who's playing a match today. We've got names, okay, Kim Kardashian, Ravi Shankar. I've got names across industries, across platforms, across geographies. But one name, right from the father of the nation to Mother Teresa, to Mr. Modi, to business tycoons, but the one name that we fail to admire, and two people have written their names, so I'm going to give that to them. The most admired brand in the world, trust me, has to be you. I'm not asking you to be egoistic, but if you don't believe you are the best, trust me, your clients will never believe that. If you don't feel you should be admired and respected, the world will not respect and admire you. It's about self-belief. It's about self-confidence. It's about believing in your own ability to deliver what you promise. And I'm sure each one of you, all the 91 of you in this room, 90 of you rather in this room, deliver every promise that you've made. And I'm not talking about only your professional life, but also your personal life. You commit to certain things and you deliver them, or you do whatever it takes in your capacity to make that happen. And when you do that, you are the most admired brand. My request, as a part of our Indian culture, we do not believe that we are brands, because some of you believe that we've not arrived there. We are still not as famous as a Mr. Narendra Modi, Sushmita Sen, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. Yes, I agree. But please understand the playing field that you have currently, which could be your business, which could be your society. I see a couple of Rotarians here. If you're playing within your club, if you're a district member, it depends on which society you're from. If you're playing in that field, are you a name which people respect, admire, and come to advice for? If that is the answer, you are a brand. Now, I strongly believe that each one of us in this room was born a brand. Each one of us was born unique and different. As kids, we had the potential to achieve whatever we could, but then things happened. We got influenced by a lot of things, and we started not believing that we are brands. Please understand, the universe created you in a way to be a powerful brand, because when you were born, your thumbprint, your tongue print, your eye print is all unique. That means there is nobody like you in this universe. And if you are different and you are unique and you are delivering the promise, you are a brand. And trust me, the day you're born, people brand you every single minute. Reality. It's not something that I don't know. Oh, we don't know branding in India. No. The day you're born, you're branded. You go and see a newborn baby, and the first thing you say is, Oh, the eyes are like the mother, the hands are like the father, the skin is like this, the person is fair like this or tall like this. Are you not judging or branding the child? A newborn baby. Fast forward a few years, the child starts playing sports, is good in a particular activity, is good in studies. What is the child here? You're exactly like your mother, you're like your grandmother, you're like your grandfather. Oh, you're just not like your grandparents or parents. What are you doing again? Branding. In every facet of your life, people are labeling you. People are branding you. So it is important for you to realize that people form opinions about you day in and day out. Now, when you know this and you need to be successful in your business and you need to get opportunities, what makes sense is to project an image that helps you get those opportunities, or you create those opportunities for yourself and business so that you're able to be successful. Before I move on, I'm going to ask most of all of us business, okay? What are the three most important components for you to be successful in business? What are the three core components why people buy from you? Three reasons why anybody will make a sale in this world.
Trust.
And this is not case when there is a crisis in this universe, where there's COVID there, so things are different. But under normal circumstances, what are the three things that have to be there for a sale to happen?
Value for money.
Value for money, okay.
Trust.
Beautiful. Who said that? Prashant.
Prasad.
Prasad.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Trust. What else?
Your ability to deliver as you promised.
I'm sorry, Kalpana?
Your ability to deliver as you promised.
Okay.
Or is there a better word, smaller word? Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Genuinely, openness, quality, consistency, yes.
Consistency, and this is very important. Commitment and consistency.
Okay. The three
and people's perception about I'm in sales, so I can say
passion,
perception
yes.
towards me. I mean, if they believe me, then obviously the sale is going to happen.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. Need. Okay. I'm going to give out the answer. The three key components without which no sale will happen unless it's an emergency or a national crisis is there is a need for your product, there's buying power, and there is trust. Three critical components of sale. Now, as people, you know the product that you are selling in the market has a need. If not, please create that need. Because there would be a need for you to do business, I'm sure. If you're not doing it, please change your business. So you need to ensure that whatever product you're selling is the need of the customer. In case they're not able to perceive it, you need to ensure that they're able to perceive that need. That's the first thing. The second one I'm talking about is buying power, which means people should have the buying power to take the product. Now, that a lot of times as business people, we use this as an excuse for not being able to sell our product or service. So I go back and I remember I using this excuse long back and say, Chennai market is not ready for me. I sell at a rate where Chennai is not able to buy. Now, question is, it's not that. The main reason why people are not able to give you the value that you're asking for, the amount that you're asking for, can be because if they don't have the money and they really see value in what you're delivering, they will go out and take loans. They will ask you for deferred payments. They'll negotiate with you on other terms to be able to take your product or service. The most important reason, which most of us do not realize and is the real need why sale doesn't happen, is people don't trust you. Trust is because either they don't see you delivering what you're promising, or you've not created an opportunity. You don't have a brand value in the market, because of which they don't trust you. Please understand, we have brands like Audi, BMW, Merck selling in the market. People take loans. You want a penthouse, you take a loan. Buying power can be manipulated or can be worked upon, but trust is something that takes time to deliver. And if you have a high brand value, people trust you. So the moment you're able to create that niche or a value proposition to your customer and the customer is able to trust you, you can charge a premium for your product or service. Having said that, you need to deliver massive value to your customer. So that is why for each one of us in this room, it is important that we create a brand value that is unique, a brand value that delivers what it promises, so that we can make more money in the market. And as business owners, that's what you want to do. If anybody disagrees, please let me know. So what is personal branding? We're using this word very often. Now, I'm going to quickly define personal branding for you. Personal branding is no rocket science, okay? It is the force that propels you to move out of gravity so that you are able to create more opportunities for your own self. And being a personal brand simply means you are being yourself, you're being consistent, you're being responsible, you're being authentic, original, unique, you are delivering what you promise in every facet of your life. So that is being a personal brand. That is how you trademark yourself, by delivering what you promise. Now, why is it important? So let me share a quick story with you. I have somewhere been using this toothpaste brand called Pepsodent for the last 15 years, and I'm somewhere getting bored, and I don't think it's doing justice. I still get yellow teeth, and I still get cavity. And I think I need to change my toothpaste brand. Which toothpaste brand would you recommend? Type it out in the chat box. Which toothpaste brand would you recommend for me? Because I've been using Pepsodent for the last 15 years, but I don't like it anymore. I want to change it.
Sensodyne.
Sensodyne, okay. Give me names. Okay, Sensodyne, okay. Himalaya, second. I was waiting for Colgate, Patanjali, Neem. Any other brand?
Gluster.
Dabur, Vico. Okay. Crest, okay. Veda Shakti, very nice. Close up. Okay, I'm going to stop here. For a product like a toothpaste, which we use at least twice a day, which is an essential item for us, for our survival, one of the essential items, okay, for us to live a civilized life, let me put it that way, we're not able to give more than 8 to 10 brands. Initially, it was all of a sudden everybody said Pepsodent, and then normally when I've done this, people will say Colgate, but after third or fourth, you really have to think. Now, if I really want to change my toothpaste, and yeah, I was waiting for KP Nambudri, normally comes in from when I do this activity in the southern part of the country. Now, the question is very simple. If I am actually looking at a toothpaste brand and the names that are not here, there are a lot of other toothpaste brands which are there, their names are not even here, I won't even consider using them. Within this also, there are niches for each toothpaste brand. Now, if you ask me, toothpaste is a toothpaste, right? But how do you create that niche or create a perceived niche for yourself is important. So when I say I have bleeding gums, there's a particular toothpaste you will recommend. If I say I need a toothpaste with a salt, right? You will recommend a particular brand, right? The idea is within a product like a toothpaste also, which is a common product, you're able to create segments, and beyond a certain number, you're not even able to recall. If you are not the top of the head recall for your product or service in the industry, trust me, people will not buy from you because you're not even recommended. So ask yourself this question: when you go and somebody has to refer your product or service, are you the top of the head recall? When I want to say, I want to, and I'm going back to, I see Ruchi here. I'm going to use her example. When I think of coaching for children or career coaching for children, I can only think of one name, that's Ruchi. That is brand recall. If you ask me, give me another name, I'll say, okay, let me think who else can do career counseling and coaching for kids. Now, if you are the top of the head recall for whatever brand you're working in, then your probability of success is higher because you are the top of the head recall. You will create more opportunity. Now, whether Ruchi closes that deal or doesn't close it between Ruchi and the client. But the idea is, were you a top of the head recall for your business or service? I'll give you another example, which is non-business. When I think of Rotary in Chennai, trust me, there have been a lot of district governors here. But for me, in my head, when I want advice on Rotary, the one person I go to is Neil Kantan. And I think he's also part of the workshop right now. He's my go-to person for Rotary. I don't understand this. I understand this. What do I do? How do I do it? He is my go-to person. And when people ask me, I have a question about roti, please direct it to Neil. So the idea is, are you the go-to person in your area or not is a question. And if you're not, then what are you doing about it? So how do you become the go-to person? Now that's important. Now I've said become the go-to person. So how do you become a go-to person? The first thing is you need to be having a connect, a heart connect. The whole idea of dil se, really works. If you connect with me, look at ads, anything. When you and I have a connect, which is an emotional connect, it is very difficult to refer somebody else. And that is why human connects are important. That is the only reason. That is the only reason why, even when there are so many products and services, you still go to people who you have a connect with. You refer them. So do you have an emotional connect? And that is why products don't sell so much. The people behind the products are the ones that you refer. The second is you need to be authentic and genuine. You need to deliver what you promise. That's the fourth one. And you need to give massive value to people. If I am giving you a product or service which is worth 100 rupees, can I give you a value worth 1,000 rupees? And if I am doing that, trust me, I will be the top of the head record. And now a lot of people in the product industry will ask me a question. My product is for 100 rupees. How can I deliver a value of 1,000 rupees? It's a notional value. How are you selling that product? How are you selling that piece of nail? How are you selling a piece of any product? Is it just a nail? Or is it something that binds two people together or two products together to create a new product? So you need to think of how within your product range, are you able to project it in a way that adds value to people? And every product, not only service, every product can be sold that way. Are you selling the features of the product or are you selling the benefits of the product or advantages of the product? So please understand, how are you creating value in the minds of the customer? That makes you a brand. Moving on. So when you become a brand, it helps you bring visibility, credibility, influence, authority. And last, which is the most important, you become an opportunity magnet, which means people want to do business with you. You don't want to do work. You are just there. If you see some of the biggest organizations in the world, they don't advertise. Have you ever seen a Jaguar ad? People want to buy Jaguar. It's a dream car. Are you the dream person people want to work with? Is a question. So to become an opportunity magnet, few things that you need to have: a clarity of vision, identify your self-worth, scientific tools and techniques, and you need to have massive action. And that's where you become an opportunity magnet. Two things: consistency and authenticity will make you a big, powerful brand. So I personally believe and strongly believe in the statement, any brand can be charismatic and inspiring. It only depends on one person, and that is you. And I'm going to share my story. I was told specifically to share my story. I will share that story about this. And I want to talk about this to stop you from being the most powerful brand in the world. You are the biggest enemy. Remember that. When you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, do you see an admirer of yourself? Or do you look at the sponge that you have, the balding hairline, the next pimple that is there, the dark skin that you have? Or do you see a person who's a fighter with all the physical attributes? You still see a winner in that person, or a person who believes they can win. That makes all the difference when you want to become a brand. So let me share my story. This is me, yes. I got married at an age of 21 when I was not even a graduate. I got married very early. I think my parents couldn't handle me. And I come from a small town called Lucknow. Some of you may have heard it. And yes, I come from Uttar Pradesh, where women are not educated, where there is a lot of bias against women. So I know a lot of mindset issues when I say UP. So I come from the state of Uttar Pradesh, and I got married very young. I hadn't even completed my graduation, but there was a determination in me to do certain things, and I wanted to do certain things. I had a vision. I had dreams. And I went back to my husband after marriage and I said, listen, I want to study. And he said, okay, go ahead. But remember, we are in a joint family and you can't compromise on certain things. And I agreed. I took up the challenge. Fast forward, a couple of years. I did my post-graduation in psychology, did my MBA after that, worked in organizations like Fortune 500 companies only, GE Capital, NIIT Limited, R.R. Donnelly here in Chennai. My last assignment was with Daimler India Commercial Vehicles. I was actually responsible for 5 divisions of HR for them. And this is a picture from there because this is where a turning point happened in my life. I decided I worked enough for people. And I had this bug that bit me, which is called an entrepreneurial bug, and which all of you have right now with you. Okay, and I decided to start business. Now, please understand, I come from a place where my entire side of the family is either from the armed forces or engineers into government service. My generation has still moved out and taken, the younger ones have moved into private, but most of them are Sarkari people, as you know them, right? So when I put out a request in my family saying I want to start a business, it was like, are you mad? Do you really want to do that? And I said, yeah, let me try. And my dad was like, you're earning good enough. You know, you're working in a big brand. My in-laws were very shocked. But I still took the plunge in 2011. That's where I moved out of Daimler. And I started a company in Adyar. Since I've only worked with big corporates, I made it a very swanky office, spent lakhs on the interiors of the office. All that very good, but did not get business. And in 2013, I had to close down that business with a loss of 60 lakhs on me because there was salaries, rent, expenses, all that happened. And I didn't have that money to pay off that, whatever losses that I had. And I'm sure you'll understand when I say this, all my savings I had put into this business, but still 60 lakhs was not what my saving was. I had made a house for myself in Gurgaon after all the jobs that I had done in Delhi and NCR. And I had to sell off that house to actually repay some of the money I owed the market. And it was a big blow for me, trust me. It was because in India, and I'm sure all of you will agree, women are known to make houses. They are known to, put things together. They save and they build. Here was a lady who out of her own whims and fancies wanted to start a business, makes a loss. The only asset, if I can say that, that's what it's considered. The only house we had made, I had to sell that off. And I did that. And that day my husband told me, why don't you take up a job? My dad told me the same thing. My in-laws told me the same thing. Take up a job. You still have some market value. And I did go for a job. To be very honest, I applied. I got a person who, an organization or a city which gave me an AVP HR role, gave me a very swanky, a very, very handsome salary. And I took the appointment letter. And when I was driving back home, I asked myself a question, is this what I want to do? And the answer was no. I said, why am I taking a job just because everybody else wants me to, just because I've made losses? And like everybody else in this room, when you lose in business, you blame the market, you blame the people, you blame everybody else, rather than looking at your own self and seeing what went wrong. I decided that afternoon that I was not going to take up the job, come what may, and give myself another 6 months to learn the nuances of business. Because when I failed, a question that was put across to me was, you're not from a business family, that's why you failed. Fine. You don't speak the local language, that is why you failed. Fine. If those were the reasons I failed, then can I look at a market outside Chennai? Can I learn the nuances of business and come back? And I went back to my husband and I said, give me 6 months. If I don't earn X amount, I'll do whatever you say. I will take up a job you want. But give me those 6 months, because I think I cannot look at myself in the mirror when I see a person who's failed in life and ran away from a problem. I have 2 daughters and I did not want to teach them that when you fail in life, give up. At least try, learn, try, fail again, and then give up is what I wanted to do. Fast forward, 2013, this happened. 2014, I was able to recover some of the money and I decided to continue my entrepreneurial journey. From there to here, 2021 end, it's been a roller coaster, right? It's not been all roses. But yes, I've been getting a lot of awards. I've been recognized for my entrepreneurship journey. I've been mentoring women, done a lot of things. But what I take pride in is I have fallen 10 times, but I've gotten up 11. What I take pride in today, I have a startup. I run 2 organizations, one private limited, one into branding. I'm a director in 2 IT companies today. And this is just the start for me, I believe. And what were some of the things that I have observed, why I thought, and I'm sure most of you give up or try to think that you are failing in business, is these 5 traps that we fall in. And I have fallen in all of the 5. I want you to think and understand which traps are you falling in, because why is this important? Because if you don't fall in these traps, you're able to project yourself as a brand. Else, every time you go 2 steps forward, you'll come back 3 steps, because these are some of the traps you keep falling under. The first is perfection paralysis. We want to do something only when we are perfect. Please remember, perfection is a myth. Progress is the key. Success is always shabby. You cannot make the perfect product. There is a concept of Kaizen by Japanese, small improvement. Are you making that small improvement in your business and in yourself every day? If you're doing that, you will move to success. So we stop ourselves to say, the day I complete this, the day I become a good singer, I'll go up on stage. Never happens in life. Make mistakes, learn, get up, brush yourself, and keep walking. The second is the trap that you fall in is a wall of limiting self-belief. You don't need your mother, father, uncle, aunt, in-laws, husband, wife, in some cases, your kids to tell you you're not good enough. You do the damage yourself. So you build walls of limiting self-belief. You build walls saying, I'm not good at it. I don't think I can do it. Oh, it's not in my capacity. People from my region have not done it. People from my gender have not done it. Oh, we are not from here. Who is putting these walls of self-belief? You. The world will say it once. You replay it in your head hundreds of times and you make it your reality. The day you learn to jump off the other side, that is where consistency comes in your brand. And that is where you become a bigger brand. The third one, which happens to most of us, we make our past and equate our past to our future or our present. I was pathetic in maths. Pathetic is an understatement. I barely passed my class 12 maths. But do I need maths in life? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But the idea is that a hindrance? Because I've failed in a subject, does it mean that I will fail in everything else in life? We extrapolate. Because I failed in business in 2011 and subsequently did not do very well in a couple of other ventures that I started, does that mean I will never be successful in business? It's a question you need to ask yourself. If you have failed, don't take it as a failure. Take it as a learning opportunity and then grow. Because if you learn, your past will always propel you towards a brighter future. It acts as a springboard. The last trap we fall under, this is my favorite, is we live in a world of conformity. Because everybody is doing that, I'm doing that. Everybody is starting EdTech, I will start EdTech. Everybody is into FinTech, I will do FinTech. Everybody is into coaching these as mental health, I will start a mental health. I would really recommend as entrepreneurs to watch Shark Tank. And some of the ideas that I watch on Shark Tank are phenomenal. They make business out of ideas which we think were nothing. Are you falling into the trap of conformity just because your father did something, your neighbor's doing some kind of business and they're making profits? Are you into that business? And if this is a trap you're falling under, check yourself now. And please understand, conformity is something that is taught to us in schools because it's convenient for people, our leaders, and I'm not saying any kind of leaders, be it spiritual leaders, be it religious leaders, be it political leaders, be our teachers, be our associations, when we conform, because it's easier to manage herds than to manage somebody who has the ability to question status quo and say, hey, can I do it differently? Or why are we doing this? And you were pulled in school when you challenged, when you asked the question, why? The only reason you will be successful as an entrepreneur is when you ask that question, why? Can I do it differently? How can I add value to this? And when you stop conforming, that is where you become a bigger or powerful brand. So those are the 5 traps. I'll give you 30 seconds to think which ones are you falling under, because I don't want it to be a GAN session. Just take 30 seconds to think which of these you're falling under. And if you're comfortable, just write down and share it with us. It'll be nice to see some things coming out. Is that correct? Very nice, Vishu. You've written something. Did we fail or our attempts failed? I think that distinction in our head is very important, because if you think you failed, you have. But if you think your idea has failed, you will get up and start working again. So the 5 traps, I'm going to quickly go through them again. There's world of conformity. There is past is equal to present. There is limiting self-belief. There is perfection paralysis. And of course, the last one, sorry, is the fear of success. We fear success also. We believe that we fear failure. As humans, we also fear success, because the moment I'm successful, I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm not in the comforts of my friends and family. People tell me, oh, you become a big person. Madam is like this, sir is like that. Okay. And we have a lot of notions attached to the people who are successful, who are powerful, because, the language of the losers, I will say, and I'm picking it up from one of my mentors who says that when we are not successful, we attach labels to people who are. We have a lot of mindset issues regarding that. So I fear that people will also say the same things to me. I fear that if I'm successful, my relatives will come and tell me, Are, you don't come for functions because you don't have time, bade log ho gaye ho, and all those kind of things. And that is a reality, but that is the reason why most of us play less than what we are capable of, because we don't want to lose people who we've grown up with or our comfort zones. So these are the 5. See which ones you fall under. Very interesting. I'm reading a couple of them right here. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. It takes a lot of courage to share in a public group. Thank you. So should we move ahead? And okay. Okay. So the 4, now that you know what is stopping you, you know what is branding. Let's look at the 4 tenets or the 4 pillars on which personal branding stands. Please ask questions, because I'm sure you will have many on this, and there will be a Q&A round, like I said, but please do keep in your questions coming. The first is, who do you want to be? Okay. So what is a legacy that you want to leave behind? That is the question you want to say. Now, it is not as easy as I want to be successful, I want to have a lot of money. Branding is not only about material things, it's also about the value that you're creating. And that is the key word here, please understand. So who do you want to be? I'm going to ask you a very crude question here. If you die tomorrow, what do you want people to say about you when you're not in that room? What are the things that you want people to discuss? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? It could be a personal legacy. It could be a professional legacy. You need to decide, because that will tell you where is your ultimate goal. Where do you want to reach? If you're not clear on that, please remember, any road will lead you to where you're going. The second is, who are you? When I say who are you, I'm not talking spirituality here. We live in a land of spiritual leaders. The new buzzword is Baba business, right? You have spiritual gurus right from Kanyakumari to Kashmir who give you enough gyan on how you discover yourself and who you are. I'm not going to that. I'm going in a very technical definition, and I'm going to talk about who you are in terms of 3 components. The third is, how do you present yourself, which means how do I myself present myself to the world? And the fourth is, how does the world perceive you? There's a difference here, and I'm going to explain the difference to you. So let's go to the first one. What do you want to be known for? What is the legacy you want to leave behind? Is it only material? It's fine. Have you ever sat down and listed what you want to do in your spirit? What is the spiritual goal that you have? What is the personal goal that you have? What is the financial goal that you have? And keeping these goals in mind, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind for not only your family and friends, but to the world at large, if you have that goal? Please remember one thing, and this is my favorite story. I want to share that with you. When Alice is lost in Wonderland, and this is going back to the story of Alice in Wonderland, which most of us have heard as kids. Alice is lost and she gets stuck. So she sees a road which has a diversion, and she was desperate to come out of this Wonderland, and she wants to go back home. Though she knows she has to go back home, but she doesn't know how to go there. So she asks the Cheshire cat, There's a cat sitting, there's a tree there, on top of the tree there's a cat, and the cat is very lazily sitting there, and Alice asks the cat, Mr. Cat, where does this road lead to? Because there's a road going there. Where does it go? Because her ultimate goal is to reach home, but she needs to ask. She asks the question, where does this road lead to? And the cat asks another question, where do you want to go? And Alice says, anywhere. Now, please remember, if you are not clear where you want to go, that's what she knows. She knows ultimately she has to, but she doesn't know where she wants to go now. And most of us, if you ask me, are not clear on our goals. We know somewhere where we want to go, what we want to do in life, but we've not written it down on a piece of paper to say, this is the legacy I want to leave behind. Okay. So she says anywhere, because her thing is, I'm stuck, I'm frustrated. I just want to go to a destination, which is not here currently. And the cat replies, if you don't know where you want to go, then any road will take you there. And that goes exactly the same when it comes to personal branding. I have so many clients who come to me, so many entrepreneurs, business people from corporate. When I ask them, what is that you want to do? And they say, you want to be successful. I want a big business. Fine. What's the legacy you want to leave behind? They are not able to tell me. Now, my role as a consultant then is to help them identify and understand what is it that they want to leave behind. And trust me, when you know what you want to leave behind, if you take a step down to know what you want to leave behind, there's one very important component that you need to know. What are your core values? This is something when I do with it, most of the people, they're not able to identify the top 3 core values that you stand for, the non-compromise values. Because trust me, your legacy that you want to leave behind is directly proportional, directly correlated to the values that you have. For me, the legacy I want to leave behind has nothing to do with money. It has more to do with education, because that is my core value. And how and what will determine later, but why I want to do the legacy, why do I want to leave that legacy, if that is not clear, the legacy will keep changing, the goalpost will keep changing with every blow that you get, every COVID situation, your business will change, fine. But does the end goal change is the question. And if you know the end goal, then trust me, this business, next business, all will actually lead you to the same goal. The question you need to ask yourself, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? The business that you're doing today is just one of the routes that will take you to that goal. And tomorrow, if you change your business line, can you change the legacy? Maybe not, because if you are relating it to your core values, it remains the same. And that is why your brand stands strong, irrespective of what you're doing. The second question you need to ask yourself is, who are you? And let me put this very simply. Who are you is a result of 3 things. Again, I'm going with the formula because I have a lot of logical people here. This is the science I'm talking about. There has to be knowledge, there has to be skills, and the third component is the mindset. There's a research done by an organization called Rogen SI. You can Google them out. Rogen SI is a coaching and training coaching company which trains people who play the Olympics. So they don't work with people like you and me. They work with organizations, they work with countries to train their sports people to win Olympics. The idea is they do something which is only on, they believe that when you are at that level of playing, which could be any level, for you it could be your level, the one differentiator that you have from being successful for not being successful is the mindset. Because skills and knowledge is something which is common, which is there, which is a baseline. And according to them, only 20% of your success is a result of your knowledge and skills. Rest 80% is your mindset. I'll repeat. Knowledge and skills combined is 20%, 80% is your mindset, which means mindset has a multiplication effect. Let's take any product that you have. How much time does it take to copy your product? I have a fintech, I have an edtech to do. How much time does it take a competition? 3 months to hire the best of brains and copy my product? How much time does it take a China to copy an automotive or anything? So please remember, your product differentiator doesn't exist. What exists is your mindset differentiator.
Yeah.
In service industry, it's not your knowledge and skills. It's what you do with that knowledge and skills that makes the difference. And coming back to my example of Vinod Kamli and Sachin Tendulkar, both of them had the skill, right? And if I go by logic, Kamli was a better cricketer than Sachin Tendulkar. So I have a lot of people who play cricket in this room. I know that. Would you validate that for me by typing a yes in the chat box? I don't say that, but most people say that Kamli's batting techniques were better. He was a better cricketer. But still, when it comes to being successful, we call Sachin the demigod of cricket, not Kamli. Why? Both started playing together. They have a world record in school cricket, right? Both of them, if not, okay, if you don't believe Kamli had better skills, at least at same par, he had his skills at that time when they both started off. Kamli stopped at the age of 21 from playing cricket. That's the age most cricketers get into the Indian team today. Why? Because of that one thing called mindset. Because when Kamli failed, he failed in his head. He started believing he's a failure. He's not good enough. And that is why all that happened after that, be his not being able to play, focus missing, all that attitude, he got arrogant. All that was a result of that. Distraction, yes, there was distraction. But why was that distraction there? Because somewhere his mind did not play with him. Whereas when Sachin got out, Sachin did not perform, and that is there in his biography. I'm not the one talking about it. He went 55 days, practiced what went wrong, used to come back, sleep on the dining table and go back again the next morning and do it. That calls for dedication, commitment, passion, focus, whatever you may call it. And that comes from here. That's not the skill. Skill improves as a result of your mindset. Please remember that. It's not the vice versa. Having said that, your skills and knowledge form the base of your success. So if you don't have knowledge and skill in your area of work, you will not be successful. Which also leads to another point which I want to say, in the changing times, and as research says, in every 10 years, 60% of the jobs or industries, roles that are there become redundant because of evolving technology. You need to keep reinventing yourself, which means relearning, unlearning every time, so that you are at least the foundation of the 20% is there. The rest 80% is all about mindset. What do you think you are and how do you get up when you fall? Somebody had written very nicely, do you think the fault is in you or there are other reasons? Do you look at what went wrong, learn and grow, or do you just take it, sit down, crib, cry, get into depression? It's a choice you make. Everything in life is a choice. That brings me to the third pillar of branding, which is my favorite. How do you represent yourself? And this is, I'm sure all of you here would have heard of something called interpersonal communication, very popular word, communication skills, speaking on the stage. Am I even creating an impact? Everybody learns those skills. Trust me, there are a lot of training programs on that. I also do a lot of that. Good revenue churners, if you ask me from a business perspective. What people don't teach you or you're not doing in schools and anywhere else is how are you communicating with yourself every single day? What is the intra-communication that is happening? And trust me, that one aspect gives you the consistency we are talking about. Because if you start doubting yourself, if you start doubting your own abilities, it comes through in the language that you use. It comes through in your body language, and people are smart enough to make out. I remember long back, and I'm going to use a Daimler example. Shanmugha sir is here. I remember I was not handling campus recruitment at all at that time. And my boss called me and he said, Nandita, would you go and make the pitch about Daimler? And we were a new company. We were a greenfield at that time. Not even, it was DICV had just started 6 months back and we had to go for our first campus round. And we were only looking at IITs and XLRIs at that time. And he said, would you go and pitch? Now, I am not a IITian, because for me, IIT was a big thing in my head, and I never thought I could become an IITian. Okay, I always had awe of an IIT, IIM, XLRI, because they were big, larger than life institutes, which I'm not questioning right now. So when he asked me, would you like to go, I want you to go and make a pitch to the IITs about Daimler, and we're looking at MTech students, my first reaction to Mr. Gupta was, sir, me? And he said, how are you? I said, sir, IIT and me. I've studied in a simple graduate, I've done simple graduation is how I answered him. And he didn't say anything. He said, no, you've been in consulting, so you'll be able to speak well, you go and pitch. Now, when I went for the first time, I was a little in awe of the whole thing, but obviously representing a brand like Daimler, I overcame that in my second or the third IIT pitch that I made. But in the first pitch, I am not kidding, I was bullied by the placement officer, literally bullied, because they could see through the fact that I'm not confident representing a brand like Mercedes-Benz or Daimler, right? You have to work on yourself. So I had to tell myself again, okay, what if they are from IIT? I am representing an organization which has a legacy. I need to have that confidence. So the question here is, what story are you telling yourself about yourself is very important, because that will come through in your body language, in the way you talk. Certain statements that you make will tell you that. And I remember when my appraisal happened after going through IITs, recruiting all the number of people at the salaries that we wanted, did a fantastic job there. My boss gives me a B grade in that. All others were 120, 130% achievement. Campus recruitment, I get a 95% achievement. And I asked Mr. Gupta, I said, sir, I've worked so well, why 95? And he said, you were not confident. No, I pushed you. So it was not an initiative that you took. And even then you were reluctant to go. I said, no, sir, I did a good job. You did a good job, but you were pushed into it, Nandita. So 100% is when you had done it, taken it, or owned it and went ahead. So the question I'm trying to tell you is, please remember, the stories that you're telling yourself become your reality. Somebody would have called you fat as a child. Somebody would have called you dark skinned. Somebody would have said, oh, you look like a pumpkin. That person has told you once in life. But you have told yourself that story at least 100 times. So what happens is when you go out and somebody compliments you, you don't believe them. You are looking at your clothes, you're very uncomfortable with your skin. When somebody smiles at a skin color, you think, oh, they're talking about me. And that comes across in your interactions with people. So my question is, please be aware, because the confidence that you elude when you're a brand will not come in when you tell yourself stories which are self-depreciating. Can you tell yourself stories which are appreciated? I remember in class 11, my maths teacher told me once, you will never do anything in life except do dhobi ka hisab, because I could not understand why do you study calculus. And I asked her that question. And I asked her, why do we study calculus? She gave me some reason I did not understand. I said, no, I still haven't understood, and I don't think I need to study calculus. She said, you know what? You only do addition and subtraction, because more than that, you will never rise in life. To do dhobi ka hisab, as you know, to do accounts at home, you only need to know addition and subtraction, and multiplication division is not required. It hurt me, because in class 11, your ego is high. Your class laughs at you, your friends laugh at you. That's a story I told myself, that I'm not good in anything which is maths related, number related, till the time I joined an organization where I proved not others wrong, but myself wrong. And it took me 25 years to do that. Are you doing the same to yourself? Because it shows, is the question I have for you. The last is, how do people perceive you? This is the most interesting part, but interestingly, most people only focus on these four. They miss the first three pillars, and that is why the ground of their personal brand, or the trademark that they create from self, is on a shaky ground. One COVID, foo, and it blows off. So if you are doing the first three right, these become extremely easy for you. But if you are not able to focus on the first three, which is the core of your branding and which nobody will do for you, trust me, most people only work on these four, you are on very shaky grounds, because every time you do something, you want to change your brand, you want to change your appearance, and it doesn't work that way. So the first four things people will perceive you in this world. It is very contextual, it is very culture dependent, it is very society dependent. So you will have to keep changing your appearances, but the core values need to remain the same, because that is the basis on which your projections, people are perceiving you. So the first is your appearance. The second is your behavior. How do you behave with not the haves, but also the have-nots, as they call it? How do you communicate with others? What's the language that you're using? It's not about speaking Hindi, English, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam. It is about how much respect that you're giving, how much are you changing your style of communication to connect with the people in front of you. And the last is your digital presence. How are you projecting yourself on the digital platforms? Thanks to COVID, the fourth pillar has become fourth aspect is extremely important. Is there a congruence or a marriage between your online presence and your offline presence? Are you communicating the same message? Are you using the same language? If you're doing that, the brand value is just strengthened. If you're sending conflicting messages, your brand value goes down, because people see you as confused in the market. And that is what we're talking about. So your appearance, the language that you use, the way you communicate with people, your interpersonal relationship, how you're flexing with people, how you're adapting your behaviors, are you using the right etiquette, culturally dependent, and how are you projecting yourself in social media, helps you create an impression about you. And please remember, in a digital age, even before people have met you offline, and especially during COVID times, they meet you online. So the question is, are you aware of the image that you're projecting? What is your social media page saying? If I have 5 posts on religion, okay, I have 5 posts on feminism, okay, I will not, trust me, I've had that, where I have written issues about what girls in sports feel, because I have a daughter who plays sports. So I used to write very aggressively on sports and how women are, not being done, not from this thing, but to create awareness. And I get a client of mine, which was a Bangalore client, a multinational, and they say, oh, we want you to do only women coaching, not for men. I said, any specific reason? He said, no, you're a feminist. Now, looking at my social media posts, which was for the general public, they presumed I'm a feminist and I don't work with men. Interestingly, 80% of my clients are men. But I can't put it on social media, say 80% of my clients are men. So please be very aware, based on the posts that you're putting on social media, people are forming impressions about you. And that becomes important. Quickly going through this again, in terms of appearance, what you need to keep in mind is your appearance is not about how good you're looking. Let me repeat that. And this is my favorite line. Good looks is not in your genes. Genes, the genes that I'm talking about. Good looks is in your genes. Looking good is in your hands. I may be bald, I may be fat, I may be thin, I may have a receding hairline. Doesn't matter. Can I still look smart? Can I still look presentable? Can I still look power dressed and be appropriately dressed? Where I'm going, who I'm meeting, why I'm meeting them, can I meet that criteria? Trust me, nobody cares about anything else. If I am able to appear professional, authentic in whatever I'm wearing and my appearance per se, people connect with me. It doesn't matter, honestly. So good looks is in your genes, looking good is in your hands, which means your skin tone, your height, weight does not matter. What matters is, are you appropriately dressed for the occasion? Are you sending out the signals which are matching with your core values? And if they are, people connect with you. The second, of course, you need to be appropriately dressed. That is the bottom line here. The second is, do I flex my style when talking to different kinds of people? So when I am interacting with a client who is very data driven, who's very logical, am I explaining my product or myself in a very logical way. If I have a person who likes being flamboyant, then I don't have to be flamboyant. Can I flex my way of communicating to ensure that whatever the need of the client is, the innate need, not the extrinsic need, the underlying need of a client, understand that and then project myself by the language that I use, communication, in a way that the client connects with me. Please remember, it's all about neuro-linguistic programming. People like to work with people who are like them. People like to work with people where they can have a dil se connect. So are you creating a connect with your audience, with your clients in whatever you do? And that is where the digital media comes into play. Are you just selling on the platforms, or are you adding value to your customers? Are you doing content marketing, which is adding value, telling them new knowledge, how to select? I have one person who I really think has made a lot of difference. There's a person called Honey Senthil. Please check him out on YouTube. He makes videos on in Tamil. He started making videos, and of course, he's a he's a builder basically. And he currently talks about what are some of the 5 mistakes people make while selecting a person. What are the things you need to be careful of? How can you get fleeced when you're getting some work done in your house? Now that is called adding massive value. And he was not selling himself. He was not nowhere telling, please come to me, I am doing buildings. And he called himself Honey Senthil. Today he's getting businesses not only across India, but also outside. So are you adding value through your social media? And trust me, social media is, he was already, yeah. So Senthil, I'm sorry, yeah. So Senthil is one person I admire who added a lot of value to people. Are you adding value through social media? Trust me, you have technology on your side, use it to your advantage. So some of the names that come to my mind here is those. Okay, so let me say, how can I help you? As a consultant into branding, I help you become opportunity magnet so that you are able to attract more opportunities. How do I do that? I do training, coaching, and consulting. Training is for organizations. I do coaching, which could be a one-to-one or a one-to-many coaching, wherein 7-8 people come and we look at how we can increase your brand value. And of course, I take projects with organizations to help them go not only for themselves, but the N1 minus, N2 minus 2, so that the whole organization brand value is increased, because not only the owner, but the entire team needs to be coherent when it goes. So, we have a lot of people, especially in MSMEs, you are a single man army. So if everybody wants to work with you and you can't clone yourself, unfortunately, that technique is not available right now. So how do you ensure that everybody in an organization speaks the same language, creates the same brand value, and creates the same value to the customer is what I do here. So that's what I do. I have an offering for all of you. So I'm going to post this link on the chat also. I have a survey which is called Know Your Brand Score, which tells you how do you stand vis-a-vis 40 parameters, 40 statements on branding. You give a rating for yourself and it will give you a report, which is an auto-generated report. So what you need to do is, I will share this link. You go click on this link, share your email ID and phone number, and my team backend will send this link across to you. Please understand, this is a self-evaluation. In case you want your clients also to tell you where you stand, and which we do for a lot of our clients, wherein you give us names of 10 other people who you think, whose feedback is important to you, 10 important stakeholders, and they will fill in an anonymous survey for you, telling you how they perceive you. Because please understand, branding is not only what you think about yourself. Branding is also what people think about you when you're not in the room. So this gap of, I think I'm very good, but my clients don't think that way. So that report is generated and I do a one-to-one session. So that is a paid report. But I had promised Mr. Gopi that I'm going to give something to all of you. So please, I'm going to share this link. Please do fill it out. And it's going to be beneficial for you. You'll get an auto-generated report. There's no payment or no charges for this. I would like to talk about this. I think both Ram and Babu have already come in here, right, as speakers. So Babu, Ram, and I have started a series of workshops which we call Escape Velocity, wherein we ensure that you have a 300% growth in your business. So we take care of your sales, we give you tips on sales, finance, and branding. Not only do we do a training program, we do handholding for 3 months to ensure that you are able to push your business and ensure a 300% growth. So in case you want to register, please do get in touch with me for that. So let me just quickly recap everything that I've done, and then we can have a Q&A. So remember, you need to be the top of the head recall in your niche, which means you need to have a niche and you need to identify your niche, create a niche. And a question that I was asked very recently was, in a room of 75 people, how can I be different? The idea is, if you're not different, let people perceive the difference, for starters. Identify your niche and focus on that. Add massive value to whatever you do. Do not look at a return on ROI in the space of personal branding. Immediately, it doesn't come in. The way you invest in other aspects of your business, invest in your personal branding, because the returns that you get are long-term and they're exponential. Always have an emotional connect in whatever you do. Consistency and authenticity are the two keys on which you build a powerful brand. Success happens when opportunity meets performance. We've spoken about that. Decide on the legacy that you need to leave behind. Success is 80% mindset and only 20% skill set. Your self-image influences the language that you use. And last but not the least, branding is influenced by your appearance, communication, behavior, and your digital platform. Be extremely, extremely careful how you're projecting yourself. You can get in touch with me, ask your questions, send in questions, follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm known as Coach Nandita everywhere. I've also given my phone number. I think there was a question to share my phone number. It's here, my email ID, everything is here. So please feel free to take a screenshot of this. And that's it from my side. I will stop sharing the screen and I'm open for questions now.
Yeah, participants, you can please unmute and ask your questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sujata.
Hi. So when I have a small waste management company that I run. So when I have a small business and I'm not very active on any social media platforms as an individual, how do I ensure personal branding while also making sure that I have a branding of my company as well?
Okay.
Because we've done a brand messaging for the company. So, we have a look, feel, the messaging that we want to put across as a company. But this is not something that I am very interested in doing as a personal branding. But it's something that people have been pushing me to, be a little bit more visible. So how do I balance that?
Okay, Sujata, very interesting. And thank you for asking that question. There's a big dichotomy in the minds of MSMEs in particular, especially smaller businesses. Do I brand myself? Do I brand my organization? Very important, right? That's exactly what you're asking. You have a brand messaging for the company, but do you brand yourself? Now, I'll ask you a question. When people come to your business, yes, they come for your product, right? Waste management, but they come, a lot of people who you reach out to you because you're Sujata, right? So are you creating the trust that people have in you is because you started the company and later they realize, okay, you referred, your people referred. It's all on personal relationship. Please understand, it's more about your network that people come to you initially. Your initial people who come to you for business are that. Now, once that is done, you need to take a very conscious call. Are you willing to create it as a business in the long run, which means a Tata Birla or Ambani, which Tata Group it's going to be known as? Or you're going to go small and say, Sujata is a brand, Sujata is an expert in an area, and she has ideas, she's doing this, and that links to your business profile. So you can create yourself as an expert and your company takes care of the execution part of it is something that you can start working on. You don't have to share everything on social media. Some of the things that establishes you as an expert, you can do that. It's not only social media. Why I'm saying social media today is because of COVID, you are not interacting. But if you look at yourself, I've heard that this forum was an offline forum, right? So when you interact with people offline, your core brand values of your organization need to be depicted by you offline also. So you can join business forums, you can join alumni forums. Are you communicating the same message that your organization is communicating? So that part also is a part of branding yourself. Okay, as an expert, are you giving talks on that topic? So that will be how you can brand yourself in that topic. If you're not comfortable online, don't do it. But The reason why we insist online these days is because, or we recommend, sorry, online these days, is only because of we are not able to meet people face to face. So if you're not there in the online medium, people don't know your expertise or that is the reason. And people do check you out on social media. Trust me, a lot of you would have checked out who is this person, Nandita Pandey, who's coming and speaking on stage with us today. So that is why we say online presence is important. I hope that answers your question. So you have to take a call.
Perfect.
How
Thanks.
you project it.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Yeah, I have the one.
Yes, Mr. Sen. Thank you for joining in from Ludhiana. It's like, wow. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Go on, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, we are in Ludhiana. We are having a base of nuts and bolts manufacturing company under the name and had Dyna. So it's basically 6 decades my parental business, and we command the name all over for the fasteners. But the problem is that the brand carries. But problem these days is too much of the competition. The price earlier, we used to get for the brand. It was something, with the brand pays. But nowadays the competition and everything goes on so much that the brand value is there, but they do not, nobody's ready to pay for the brand. You have to compete. That's a question, that's a problem coming on the way of the business. What would you say for this?
Okay, there are 2 parts to this question, according to me. One is price war. Price war can, and I'm not saying always, but most businesses are facing a price war at this time. Reason being because of COVID, even the person you're doing business with is being very, very tight on giving money, right? So they're negotiating very hard. But please understand, you have an amazing, 60 years of experience, of expertise in a particular area. So the only thing you need to do is leverage that brand value. The product, I'm sure, would be good because of which it survived for 60 years. But like I said, product cannot be your differentiator. It's about your relationship with your clients that will give you the foothold to actually go and negotiate, go and have a relationship with your client. That will be the differentiating factor, because somewhere, if I believe in your product and you as an individual, trust me, most businesses do not change vendors very easily. Until and unless there is a stark difference of 50% or 60% or 30-40% in today's world of difference in pricing, which means that a new technology is being used. And like I said, if that is the case, then restructuring, reinventing on technology is something that you might have to look at. So if you look at who am I, said that 20% of success is your product, right? That 20%, if there is a huge difference because of the 20%, because the technology is obsolete, because your processes are more expensive, you need to reinvent yourself in the process part of it, or your product line per se. But 80% is your relationship with your clients. How do you interact? Well, how do they see you? What is your personal relationship? Because I have worked in organization, and it's very difficult to break into a company wherein they already have vendors or suppliers who they're very comfortable with. So it's about your personal relationship. Leverage that, work on that, see what is the need of the customer and give massive value to the customer. And I'm sure they will not leave you because you have legacy on your side.
Because, one more thing to add, generally, being the international system, everything was in computers. So every company is, basing on this L1, L2, L3. So until and unless you come L1, you don't get the order. You are not stand. You have a brand, that's okay.
True.
You have the quality. You are, supplying to the customers from last 1 decade also. But then the pricing is like you have to be L1. That's it.
So for that, again, I'll go back, look at, this is not a part of personal branding, but as a part of a consulting assignments that I do, you'll have to relook at your product, strategize there, change. Maybe you'll need to reinvent certain things so that you also can bring down costs. If cost is the only thing, which at times I don't believe, if I would really recommend that you do a root cause analysis of why your business is going down. And if cost is the only thing, then you need to revamp your processing or your product portfolio. That is my only recommendation to you. Because it's not related to branding at all, honestly. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, my name is Vishwanath, 82 batch. We make underground storage tanks and bioseptic tanks. We're very lucky because we are a monopoly. My problem is different. I've not even upgraded my website because I'm scared of getting orders because I haven't ramped up my production. My production, I need to ramp up. Now, do I start the branding exercise at all? They're doing well. So when do I start the branding exercise? Do I do it after I ramp up my production so that people are not left high and dry? Which comes first? Your production capacity expansion or your branding exercise? What comes first?
Okay. Mr. Vishwanath, I think all the 60 people in the room are envious of you right now. They want to be in your place where they can be market leaders and people want to do business with them. I'm sure all of us as business owners would want that. So yes, it is very important for you to ramp up because what you cannot send a message out in the market is that once you get those orders, if you do not deliver on your promise, then there is a problem. There's a massive problem because rather than creating goodwill in the market, it will take away whatever goodwill you've created so far, right? So what you need to do is quickly look at ramping up, look at how you get trained manpower, get your people in place, get the production in place, get everything in place, and parallelly, you need to start ramping up on your marketing strategy. Please remember, it's a very nice place to be in, but it just takes a couple of years, a couple of months for somebody to realize that there is a lot of potential in this market and somebody can come up in this space, right? And at that time, you do not want to be hunting for clients because at that time, you should be in a situation where you have a pipeline of clients who are wanting and to do business with you. So invest on branding from now because it is one of the mistakes most of people make.
I am in fact thinking of sharing. I am asking people to do franchise manufacturing for me. I'm in fact wanting to encourage other people because septic tanks are so ubiquitous and there is no branded septic tanks. So I am now looking at helping other people set up factory. I'm ready to even, help others set up manufacturing. I can help them, support them.
All the more reasons you need branding because now if you're looking at getting people as franchisees, you need to market now. That is where your branding will change. You're not branding to get customers, you're branding to get your franchisees in place. So your website and every branding step will focus on what is the ROI a guy will get when he actually becomes a franchisee with you. You're not going to market on how do you become a customer or what are the advantages of having a septic tank. Your whole strategy for branding will change to say, hey, we are experts and we want to create more. You are a leader in the market. You want to create more leaders. That is how your branding strategy will change. So it's very important to know the end goal, like I said, before you even decide on your branding strategy. So go ahead, create more entrepreneurs in the market. That's what the country needs, honestly. So go ahead. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hello, ma'am. This is Pratap from Chennai. Yeah, I run a sustainable, eco-friendly mattress company.
Okay.
Okay, the thing is like it is more like you said, people buy it based on the trust on me. I used to tell my clients my reputation precedes me, but I want to transfer this from me to my company.
You want to
transfer this this reputation and the belief people have in me to the company.
Okay.
I want my brand to be bigger than the person I am because that is what is good for the company in the long run.
Okay.
So how do we do that?
So the quickest step I would tell you is that you need to make a company website and a company page. Okay.
We have it, ma'am. We have it.
And then start transferring that knowledge into that. And also very important for you, Pratap, would be, I'm sure you have a second in line, right? Because that is why you're thinking of actually moving to a company, right?
Right, ma'am.
So you need to ensure that the second in line that you have is equally trustworthy the way you are. So that is why you need to train them on your core values. You need to ensure that they speak the same language and they're able to do the work that you are doing with equal, if not more, passion and commitment, because that is where the trust in the customers will increase. And once that starts happening, you start slowly delegating through your website to say these people. So branding is not only about creating a website. It's about creating a brand within the organization. So you need to ensure there's a culture charter for your organization. There is a list of do's and don'ts. You need to ensure that your top clients, you do strategies like falling in your top 10 clients, 15 clients, or whatever. If it's a B2B business, if it's a B2C business, do various branding activities to introduce your team to your customers so that they know that they can trust your team also as much as they can trust you. So there are various activities that you can do to move
because right now, ma'am, in our website or in our social media pages, none of our faces are shown.
Yeah.
Neither me, nor the second in line or third in line. No one has put our face in the social media page or anywhere.
So, Pratap, I really need to sit with you to understand what is the strategy you're using, because it can be shifted very easily. It is.
Fine, ma'am.
But the idea is, what exactly do you want? What is the step-by-step approach that we would take to move from a personal to a professional brand? And trust me, it is easier when it's a product. It is more difficult when it's a service. So when I say I'm a branding coach and I have a team, people only want to take my consulting. They don't want my team. So how do I slowly push the brand called Prismatically Consulting over Nandita Pandey is a call that I take. So there's a step-by-step process. It doesn't happen overnight, but in the product stage, it is much easier because the product takes precedence, and that's where we will shift the focus to.
Right, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
So because I'm offering a product, it's a mattress.
Yeah, so that will be easy for us. You can contact me offline if you want, and we can take this forward discussion.
Sure, ma'am. Certainly, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter. Any other questions? I've also shared the link. Mr. Gopi, I request all the people who have joined in, if you can share the link, they can do this assessment for themselves. It will be a nice eye-opener to know where you stand in your personal brand.
Sure. We'll do that. You can post the link here so that we can ask.
I've also posted it here, but a couple of people have left. So in case they also want, we can share it.
Yeah, I can share it. I can share it in the group. No problem.
Sure, perfect. Any other questions?
Any questions? Anybody else has a question?
This is Devarajan from URC Construction, Nandita.
Okay, hi.
Yeah, hi. You said in the initial, opening remark that if it is useful, you can keep it or you can leave it. But every bit of your information was very useful. I'm also managing a company which is 65-year-old. And apart from that, we have 3-4 brands, like in a textile and in software, other things like Tex Valley is there. Everywhere, there is a different insight we could get from listening to your talk. Thank you very much and best wishes.
Thank you so much and all the best to you.
Yeah.
Anyone else has a question? Shivaraman Dhanasekaran, sir.
Sir, nothing from my side. It was a very good session. I think I was having a different perception on personal branding, but Nandita gave a very clear picture. It was a very nice presentation.
I didn't shatter your perception completely.
Am I audible? Am I audible to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Go on, Shiva.
Yeah. That's what. It was a very good session, and the personal branding was. I had a different perception, but you gave a clear picture, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hi, Nandita.
Hi.
Yeah, Karthik. Go on, Karthik.
Yes, sir. Just give me a minute. Ma'am, see, I am into textile business here.
Which business? I'm sorry.
I'm into textile apparel manufacturing.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Now, see, I'm currently focusing on the export market, and how do I bring in clients who are see? I wanted to bring in people I don't want to disturb all the competing customers from people around me. I want to bring in people who are currently doing business with the other parts of the region, say other countries and all. How do I bring in? How do I pitch in a different customer who is currently not doing business with India? Say, for example, there's a customer who's getting goods from China, who's getting goods from Mexico. Now, how do I pitch in?
So you do B2B, if I understand correctly, because if you're in textile, your exports is B2B, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure you have you would know the target customers you're looking at, right?
Yes.
There are a couple of business branding strategies that we have for B2B business.
Okay,
How do you establish credibility? So you will have to reach out either to those customers directly or through various modes in terms of establishing yourself as an expert. If you're collaborating with a couple of other Indian textile owners to show an association to say India is better, that's the way you want to brand, that can be done.
Okay.
Or if you are thinking that yes, you as a person would go and say Indian market is better as your organization and how India can help, or how India working with an Indian brand is better for them rather than working with a Mexican or a Chinese brand, that can also be done. Keeping that in mind, you will have to come up with strategies. It is basically educating your customers on the advantages or the benefits they will have while working with you. So a couple of strategies that are there in branding, which is specifically for B2B, that can be used by you. So I can share some of them. Just send me a message and I will share the broad level strategies with you.
Okay.
And, and then in case you want to work out in terms of execution, we can look at that later. Yeah.
Okay. See, I just have a small idea popping up. See, because most of the customers, they already have their brands. For example, take US Polo, Ralph Lauren, or Levi's. All these brands are bigger people who can easily connect with the bigger people of our country. So I'll have to reach out to not the very bigger brand, but to a smaller brand. Say there'll be a small business people in a particular city in, say, USA or in Germany, where they'll have only 4 to 5 stores. So I need to reach out to that small particular people. And for that, if I go in for personal marketing, say I travel from here to USA, the point is...
You can't do that. So that's why I said there are strategies. There are people within India who help you get connects. Okay. That's one. Two, I would want to just draw your attention towards something, okay? You said there are bigger brands like Louis Vuitton or Eva or whatever, right? They have they only work with big brands.
Yeah.
I don't know how true it is. You need to assess and do a feasibility study as to whether if you do get a smaller chunk of their order, will you be able to execute with quality and at the timelines? Because for them, quality and timelines are most important, right?
Definitely.
So it is your mind which is stopping you from reaching out to an LV or something else to say we can't do it, right? So you need to do a feasibility study to say, hey, we are experts. That's why I said you need to understand who you are today. What is your expertise? If this is our expertise and you think, for a Levi's or an LV or whoever, you can make a particular segment of clothes because they typically outsource it, right? Can I cater to that market? Why am I only looking at B customers? Because reaching out to a B customer, a B town customer with 6 stores and doing their entire product line vis-a-vis doing a product line for a bigger customer with more volume, what is more beneficial? So you have to do a feasibility study on that.
Okay.
Identify your strengths. What is it that you bring onto the table? How are you adding value to the customer? And then reaching out to those customers. And again, I agree with you. You don't have to fly down to a Germany or a Japan or France every 3 months or 2 months to hunt for clients. There are various modes. So first you establish credibility online, and there are tools. Then you talk to people who help you get connects. There are agencies within India itself which help you get these connects. Once the initial connect is established and your credibility is established, that's when you typically should be going rather than wasting money on travel.
Got it. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else has a question?
Hi, Gopi. This is Prabhu here. I have a question. Can I go?
Yeah, please go on, Prabhu.
Yes, Nandita, it's a very beautiful presentation. And my question is that, let's say if you are a company, if you are in the social media trying to post your specialties, what you do different from the other companies. And if
something else 1 second. I think there is a.
Yeah, Prabhu, go on, Prabhu.
Yeah. So my question is that, if you start posting in the social media or branding yourself or your company on the specialties, what you do, you must be aware that the competition is also looking at you, right? So how do you deal with those situations? Let's say if the competition starts following exactly what you're doing different and promoting in the social media, then you're going to lose to the competition, right? So.
Okay. Prabhu, can I ask, what do you do?
Nandita, I'm in the oil and gas business. So we make large process equipments which goes into the refinery, petrochemical, fertilizer industries.
And you're asking this question for this business or general?
In general, I mean, even for my business, we do certain proprietary things. So, I'm always worried to, post it in the social media that, I'm worried that my competition is going to look and then copy exactly what I'm doing.
Prabhu, competition copying you is the best form of flattery and maybe telling you that you're already a brand. Okay? On a light and on a more serious note, let me put it this way. You still have a product, okay? And I'm going to share an example. I have had, unfortunately, I do these workshops, and like today also it's going live on YouTube. I've had people who attended my workshop, secretly recorded my sessions on their cameras and gone and called themselves coaches, trainers, and replicated even the same examples that I use. Okay. On one hand, yes, I feel good. I'm a trendsetter. People look at me and they will go down on pricing as to 1/3, how, quarter by what I do. Because again, now, initially I was very baffled with this, to be very honest, talking about my post will be copied, my logo deleted from there, and then they will put the same post, same color combination. And I use very specific colors to talk about what I talk on social media. You will see there's a theme which runs through my social media posts and everything. It is a way I communicate. Okay. That is my style. And that is where my personal style, which comes in everything that I do. Now you've copied that. So there was a time when I was also very baffled to think competition is copying you. Should I stop? Should I not stop? And, from a business perspective, it hits you, your bottom line. Right. In one way, it massages your ego. But if you think in a business perspective, then I sat and I did something which I would recommend everybody to do at one point is actually understand who is your target audience. Okay. Who is the person who is your, as they call it in BNI terms or in other management terms, who's the guy who's getting you your bread and butter? Who's the guy who's giving you a jam and cheese? Let me put it that way. I put it in very simple terms, right? And trust me, there are a lot of people in the industry who are not your target market just because, you're there. They've come to work with you. And I don't mind letting go of certain clients of mine who don't see value in what I deliver. Okay, who negotiate with me only on pricing, because even for you, when you have proprietary material, when you go and give a product to a client, it is not only the cost which is there. It is your experience. It is it's the quality of the product. It is a lot of things that go into you, the kind of servicing that you would do after the product is installed, the relationship that you have with your client, especially in a product industry, that goes out in the long term, which gives you business, right? So if a customer copies you, you don't have to share proprietary content on social media, but yes, you can talk about some success stories. There are different ways to do it also where people can't copy content, but there comes a point that people will copy content because a lot of this content, unless it's patented or, there's no concept of IP in India, unfortunately, or even if there is, we don't go and file cases for intellectual property in India. So yes, content is copied to a large extent, but customers who realize your value will come to you because they see value in working with you. Because it's not the 20% that your competition has copied. They work with the 80% that nobody is able to copy, because of which they work with you. So if you go and Google out, and I'm being as honest on a social media platform today because it's going live on YouTube, to say there have been people who've joined my team to come take my content and go out and sell it in the market as their content at 1/3 the price. I have sent out notices to them. I have told them explicitly they cannot do that, but beyond that, I cannot stop people from copying because that's how the industry is. So I need to be careful of some proprietary work, but I know that the value that I'm adding because of my 21 years of experience is something that they will not be able to add. And that is what my USP is, not saying that I create content or your product becomes secondary in that case. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, Nandita. Wonderful. In fact, in short, ignore the copycats and keep going, chasing your dreams, right?
Go ahead, because you are more than, they are just copying you 20%. 80% is still you. Still people would want to be you.
Awesome.
You will not lose in business in the long run. Trust me, because clients who are really giving you the money and this thing will want to work only with you. I've seen that in the long run. So the people who fall off on the wayside are not clients you would want to work with in the long run, honestly.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Nandita. Thanks, Gopi, for the beautiful session.
Thanks, Prabhu. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Anyone else has a question?
So I don't have any question, but thanks a lot. It was a wonderful session, sir. Gopi sir and Nandita madam.
Thanks, Sadashiv.
Really
thank you very much.
Wonderful. We enjoyed
Thanks
it.
for being
Really.
with us.
Thanks a lot for good motivation. This is really very nice.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else has a question? Okay, I think we are done.
Yeah.
So what an amazing woman, Nandita, you are. You had it all going and you walked your talk. You're an absolute expert in areas of personal branding and how to attract more clients. You're one of the go-to for all things around personal branding. As organizer of this event, we are pretty sure you delivered high quality content with charisma. It was an inspiring, warm and motivating session, Nandita. Your views were clear, practical and gave insights into the power of personal branding. Thank you very much for being with us, Nandita, for your on the Sunday morning. Hope you all enjoy your Sunday and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling me. It was indeed a pleasure being on this event with all of you today. Thank you.
So we'll catch up soon, Nandita, one of these days.
Sure, definitely we should. Yeah. So, okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
all
thank you,
all the best,
Nandita.
and do fill in the questionnaire. It's going to help you. That's all.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Nandita. Thank you very much. Bye. Take care.